Hello, my name is Paul Vregel. I'm founder and president of For a Better Business, where we help CEOs take their companies from here to there in that much time. I'd like to share with you a story about an experience I had early in my career at age 23 that revolved around a major mechanical failure of a ship while I was working overseas. My original background and experience is as a naval architect and marine engineer. That's ship design and construction, which is essentially a large-scale systems engineering process. I graduated from Webb Institute, worked for Newport News Shipbuilding on nuclear submarines and aircraft carriers, and after a year was hired by Amoco Corporation to manage ship construction in Spain at the age of 22. A couple weeks after hiring, I was on a plane over to Spain with my instruction set being, figure out what you're supposed to do and do that. After about a year, one of the earlier ships in the series under construction came into Lisbon, Portugal for its guarantee dry docking. A guarantee dry docking is essentially an inspection and repair process. One of the things that we inspected was the main engine, a 30,000 horsepower diesel engine. When we opened up the crankshaft bearings, what we saw was that all of the bearing material, which is supposed to be in the bearing, was in fact lying on the journal in pieces. This is really bad, and the fun had just begun. The ship was built by a company controlled by the Spanish government. The engine was built by a different company, also controlled by the Spanish government. We had a contract with the shipyard, but not with the engine builder, and the engine was built under license from a company in Denmark. I was in Lisbon as an observer for the new construction department. The ship was under control of the operations department, so I had no authority, no staff reporting to me, no technical knowledge about poured metal bearings and high-powered diesel engines. I was 23, didn't speak Spanish or Portuguese, and the directive that came to me was, fix it. So I went to Spain and asked the management of the engine builder the first logical question: what's the plan? And they said, we don't think we have a problem. We think the Danes have a problem because they designed the engine, we just built it according to what they said. From that I concluded that even if I was able to move heaven and earth and get the Danes down to Spain to talk with the Spaniards, all that would happen is the two of them would sit across the table, point fingers at each other, at, by the way, the $30,000 a day that the shipyard in Lisbon was charging Amoco for the ship being there. That'd be about $250,000 today. I didn't think that was a very good solution. So I looked at what I had, and I concluded that what I had was nothing, except that I was physically there. So I decided to go into the plant and talk with the people who actually made the bearings. One problem, they didn't speak English, I didn't speak Spanish, but if you really want to communicate and solve a problem, there's lots of ways to do that. So I observed what they were doing. I asked a lot of questions. We sketched things out. They learned a little English. I learned a little Spanish. And after a few days, I thought I had a pretty good idea of what the cause was. But I had the good sense to shut up on several theories. One, although our communication had become pretty good, I was sure that there were other things that were part of this that the employees knew about, they did this every day, that hadn't yet come out of the process that we went through. And if all I did was say, this is what I think is the cause, all the thinking would stop, and we never would make progress towards a real effective solution. On the other hand, if I worked with them with their process, those additional elements would come to light, they would bring them to the table, they would be part of our discussion and assessment of cause and solution. The employees would be part of the solution, and being part of the solution, they would have ownership in the results. So that's what we did. And it had the desired result. In a few weeks, with some changes needed to their process, they were able to manufacture perfectly acceptable bearings that met all the requirements. I looked at that and I said, well, this is really interesting. I had no authority, no technical knowledge. I was 23 years old, cross-language, cross-culture, in a plant overseas I had never seen before, in a technology I didn't know anything about, and working with the employees, we achieved for them a permanent increase in their manufacturing capability that they owned. This is really powerful stuff. That and some other experiences led to our belief that your employees are the world's experts at knowing what they do every day, their local system. And we believe that 90% of the issues in a company are embedded in how those local processes work and work together. Those two core beliefs are in fact the underpinnings of our transformational results through people and process approach and our 30-day implementation process. I hope this video has been useful for you. I'm Paul Vregel, president of For a Better Business. If you have questions or would like to speak about the results you want to achieve for your company, contact us at the numbers below today.